I'm trying to get some sleep. You're laying next to me. My mind is painting pictures of what you had to see. You might just want to go, escape to mountain snow. Wherever you will wither, I wanna help you go. Our help is hoping for a way, away. Ooh, I've lost the words that I should say. So tell me what to be. I can tell you're dealing. I wanna take a walk along the dark under your feet. I can only try. Imagine what you're feeling. Flower beds for tears to share, crumble into me. Crumble into me. Crumble into me. Staring at your feet, frozen in defeat. Shallow conversations, but I'm trying to dive in deep. Can't pretend to know what's going on below. Holes are now less hidden in a boat we cannot row. I'm helpless, hoping for a way, away. Ooh, I've lost the words that I should say. Tell me what to be. I can tell you're dealing. I wanna take a walk along the dark under your feet. I can only try. Imagine what you're feeling. Flower beds for tears to share, crumble into me. Crumble into me. Crumble into me. Crumble into me. Crumble into me.
You're listening to the RM Podcast, the official podcast of Red Moon Productions. Here are your hosts, Brandon Davidson, Keith Cheatham, and Sean Sebastian. Enjoy.
Welcome to another episode of the Red Moon Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Brandon Davidson, alongside our normal new host,
Sean Sebastian.
and
Keith Cheatham.
oh, and we've even got some special guests this week joining us.
Ooh.
Who could it be in the studio with us live?
Nathan Curry coming at ya.
And
Neil Singleton.
oh, Neil, come on, get a little more
gotta get
pep
a
in
little
your-
closer.
Come, Neil.
Neil Singleton.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's right, guys.
Is that
No,
better?
Be
Yes.
excited. You are on the RMPodcast.
we've got a fantastic show planned for you this week. Oh gosh, it feels good to be back. Another fantastic week.
It does.
As some of our viewers might have noticed out there, I've got my hat on, but Keith, you've even got a little special hat yourself going on there. What is that?
I think this was the thinking cap the writers and producers of Dumbo used. this is what this is what they did all day.
Oh,
So
oh no!
Jumping right into it.
Oh man, we're
Way
just
too
jumping
nice.
right into the bash.
Way too nice.
but yeah, we have a review for you. Obviously, Dumbo, and it's going to be really interesting. I think
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think you've already kind of hit the nail on the head there, but just a
the nail on the
prelude.
head or the empty box on the head.
But it's an alcohol box.
No, I
too.
think you should
That's-
keep it on.
They were
I
drunk
think
when
you
they
should
wrote
keep
this
it on.
movie.
No, I like looking at my curls. Look at that.
You got a haircut, son.
Oh,
It looks good.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's nice.
I think he looks good. What about you, Sean? You think he looks good?
It's sexy. I'm not
It
gonna lie.
looks soft.
You know what would be great if I had a little bit of this salt and pepper here? Look
I
at
can
that.
give you mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes me feel like a man.
Mm-hmm. You should
Yeah,
see my
you're
chest.
Very.
Could you show that to us, Sean?
No.
You want to show that on camera?
No, it's got its
If-
winter trim right now, so
We're
it's,
speaking
winter
of,
trim.
it's not
of
bushy.
A hairy. We're speaking of a hairy body. We want to point towards Neil here because that's just.
He's been known.
Should I turn
everywhere.
around? Is
Yeah.
that-
I think that's what we're hitting at. Actually, we're going to get to you a little bit later, Neil. We got some secrets to divulge.
Yes.
Neil's
Our
whole
wife
entire
is watching right now.
relationship.
Or fiance, sorry.
Yeah,
But-
watch it, man.
Yeah,
Not yet,
too
not
crazy.
yet.
Hey, I have to say 100 days until the wedding.
Wow.
Hi,
Nice.
Megan. You better be watching.
She is watching. That's nice.
I mean, that's,
You're nice.
It's also like 100 days of freedom left.
Is that how is
Sure.
is that how you would define it?
Well, it's
Neil?
actually it's 1 day of freedom because she's coming to town tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
so.
yeah.
This is really hard. Like
Gotta
trying, I
go
don't
back
want
to-
this many guests again. I can't switch the camera fast enough.
What's the matter?
I'm trying
Brandon's
to get all the
an
guests.
amateur. He can't
Well-
handle it.
Baptism by fire, my friend.
We're gonna try. We're gonna
Yeah.
try this whole episode. We've got. I'm glad to have you all here though. Thank you. All for
Glad to
being
be here.
Yeah, even though we caused problems being here. But
No,
No.
it looks
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
It
That
looks
did
good.
sound kinda
You
bad.
are an incredible burden upon everyone in this room.
I will say I thought I was gonna get my own mic, my own camera,
Yeah.
ring
Sorry.
light.
It's we're gonna have to start charging people in order to get that kind of stuff.
I think
Yeah,
we've
that's
we've
fair.
done very well with the production value, but we haven't quite gotten
Yeah.
that far yet.
I've been happy
So,
with it.
Yeah. We thank both of you all. You have been watching and commenting, and we appreciate that. But we have so many.
No, wait.
viewers out there,
Let me
so
draw the
many.
line there. Just because you watch and comment does not mean you're coming on this show. I'm just saying. I don't
Yes,
want
it
that
does.
to be
Yes, it does.
expected.
that's how I got here.
if you hit 100 likes, you get to come on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I'll say that.
we
I don't
also
care,
have
yeah.
we also have the rule that if you come on here, you have to have a review.
It's
And
true.
I think Nathan definitely brings
Nathan
something
had
to the
a
table.
a
So-
Dumbo.
Boy.
You're probably gonna have to pull out the review you posted on Facebook. You may have to.
Probably, I mean,
Yeah. But,
do that.
so get
do
that,
that
ready.
before or after the official review.
Whoa! What are you trying
Oh,
to
it's
say?
his unofficial?
I was gonna say.
Slap in the
Nathan's-
face.
It's not the official Red Moon review.
Oh.
No, it's
Oh.
not. You're right about that. It's not.
Neil,
Should be-
where's your review?
Which one do you want? I've reviewed
This is true. You've
in
reviewed many.
a couple of
You've
movies
reviewed many.
at least. Yeah.
I was
You
gonna
did
say,
you did Mr. Holmes.
Neil-
right? Or
Neil has
whatever,
made-
the one
Yes.
with Ian McKellen, whatever it was called. Yeah.
Neil has done his time.
I
on the
did that. I
podcast
did.
for those
Did I do
reviews.
Chappie?
Yes.
You reviewed Chappie?
Oh.
Yeah, that was like.
I'm really sorry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Well, with all that being said, I think we should go ahead and dive right into our official review of Dumbo.
12. Walt Disney Pictures. No name, no brand is more recognizable or synonymous with family entertainment, and for good reason. Since the release of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs 82 years ago, Disney has been a powerhouse. It's seen its lows along with the highs, but Disney has become one of the biggest production companies in history, now more than ever. With so many projects and companies lined up under their thumb, some things are bound to slip. Not every film can be a quality release, but with their latest string of live-action adaptations of classic animated films, Disney has mostly played it safe. Not all have been great, but none have been terrible either. Until now. Released in 1941, Walt Disney's fourth feature-length animated film, Dumbo, was a hit. Still one of their most iconic characters, Dumbo has captivated audiences for 79 years. And with such a simplistic plot, what a perfect choice to adapt into a live-action film. Add in director Tim Burton, whose unique vision could really add a different twist to a classic story, and we had what sounded like the makings of what could be one of Disney's best live-action adaptations. Instead, what we received has been the absolute worst. Starring Colin Farrell as Holt, a father who was once a performer in the Medici Brothers Circus, now returning home after serving in World War I, Holt is reunited with his children, Millie and Joe, played by Nico Parker and Finley Hobbins. Millie and Joe have been brought up by the circus during Holt's absence after his wife and co-performer passed due to influenza. Holt resumes working for the circus, run by Max Medici, played by Danny DeVito. Max places Holt in charge of the elephants, with a recent purchase, a pregnant female, being of significant importance to Max as he believes the baby elephant will be a huge attraction. Of course, not everything goes the way Max foresees, and he gains more than he bargained for with baby Dumbo, the flying elephant. Soon, amusement park entrepreneur V.A. Vanderveer, portrayed by Michael Keaton, sets his eyes on Dumbo, and all involved will be the worse off for it. The film's story splits drastically from the original, which could have been the film's greatest strength. With other adaptations being near carbon copies of their classic animated counterparts, Burton had the opportunity to offer something different and unique, keeping the morals and themes that made the original so good while telling an all-new story. While he does offer a new story that tries to stay true to the original's message, with plenty of homages paid to it, he never accomplishes anything of value. The film is flashy yet dull. The story is a convoluted mess of ill logic, as character motivations center around poor stereotypes or the necessity to move the plot forward. Nothing feels organic. Spectacle abounds, but so much of the CGI is jarring, and the visuals of a flying elephant more often than not comes off as laughable rather than awe-inducing as it should be. Burton typically has a flair for visuals, but never really goes all out in this film. Only one scene feels like the creation of a Tim Burton film, but the rest of the film is so tame, Burton's bizarre visuals, when they do pop up, feel out of place. While Burton may have pulled back the reins on his more outlandish visuals, cinematography and production design are top-notch, but they are not enough to save the horrendous story and dialogue. Acting, likewise, is terrible, made even worse by the poor script. With heavy hitters like Michael Keaton and Danny DeVito, you have plenty of talent, but none of it is present in this film. Ultimately, this movie has all the pieces to create a brilliant image, but instead of taking the time to carefully put the pieces together, creating a work of art, Burton took a few pieces from the original, along with the pieces given to him, and shoddily dumped them before us and hoped his name would be enough to fill in the gaps. This film has no entertainment value other than being laughable. Poor acting, writing, and special effects with no redeeming qualities prevent this film from soaring like the original. Instead, 2019's Dumbo falls flat. This is one elephant that is certain not to fly. I give Dumbo 1 out of 4 stars.
Oh goodness!
Man.
I think that's. What do you say?
Well,
what do you say?
Me and Sean actually have a confession, Nathan. We went and saw it a second time.
What?
And yeah, we have
What?
to change our star
What are you
rating.
talking about?
Yeah.
We've actually, after some second thought, we're thinking it's really not as bad as we thought it was the first time.
So not half star?
We're gonna give it maybe, I think, like 3 stars. 3 out of 4.
3 out of 4 stars.
Yeah.
You really need
No,
to
No,
no,
this is
no,
a
it's
total
it
lie.
Yeah, exactly. Of course.
Nathan looked terrified there for a moment, though. He did. He just looked like,
Oh,
like
my
someone.
headlights for a
He looked
second.
like somebody shot his puppy. No, it was definitely a 1-star movie. It was bad.
It was
I gave it a
awful.
half star.
Oh, Sean gives it half a
I
star.
gave it a half a
I
star.
was gonna say let's go around because we usually do this. We have our official rating,
Yeah.
so 1 out of 4 stars for Dumbo, but we always do end up giving it our own star rating.
Everybody, yeah.
I'm Sean, half star out of 4.
Yeah.
I would actually give it 1.5.
Really?
I was settled on 1.
Just because Eva Green's in it?
She
She's
helped
a half a star
until
herself.
no,
Yeah.
she
Yeah,
helped
she
until
can
she
be.
started flying on Dumbo. Once she started flying on Dumbo, it was a no-go.
It was terrible.
bad.
So
Oh, man.
so yes, 1.5 out of 4. I'll explain why. You guys, we all, which I want to say, we all saw this together.
Yeah,
actually,
Yeah,
as a
we
group
did.
of guys.
All of us.
So
I mean, I kind of agree with Brandon. 1.5.
Oh man.
okay.
Sorry, guys.
We don't love you
No,
anymore. Neil.
it's differing opinions is what makes this amazing.
1.
1.
1.
One. Oh wow. Okay.
1,
So, all
okay.
right.
Just 1.
All right,
And
who
that's
wants-
being
So who wants to
incredibly
start?
generous.
Who wants to start the discussion? Who wants to?
Well,
begin?
they've already heard my thoughts.
We
in
heard
review.
Keith's.
So I'd like someone else.
Sean,
to go.
I mean, you were the lowest
I don't really
rated.
have I'm going to be honest with you. I zoned out through 90% of the movie. the movie opened.
No lie, there was one part where you were playing.
I played Mario for 20 minutes. But the movie opened with the train and just that whole scene really kind of had me pumped for a minute.
Yeah.
Until they started talking.
Yeah.
Until the first person spoke. And that's when Colin Farrell got off the train and showed no emotion whatsoever about his wife dying
Yes.
and finally seeing his kids
Yep.
and coming home from the Great War with one arm. Like, I was just like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Where, I mean,
Again, where's the
what's
direction?
the tone they're trying
Yeah.
to set here?
Literally came
was
home and was
terrible.
like, "All right, let's get back to
It was
being a
terrible.
circus man."
His daughter was terrible. The girl that I don't even what's her
Oh,
name?
yeah.
Is it
I think
worth-
we're gonna get there.
Is it worth even
gonna-
going into what her name was? Because she has no career. if she
Nico
keeps
Parker.
acting like this.
It was
Nico
bad.
Parker is
Nico
her
Parker.
name.
Yes,
Okay, yeah,
it was
this is
bad.
not a good start for her career. If
It's her
if
first major role,
Yeah.
and honest to God, it should be her last.
It was pretty bad, and I mean, you could chalk that up a lot to directing. I mean,
Yeah.
But Tim Burton has been able to pull some great acting out of people. I mean, Johnny Depp is one of the people that he's able to really, I mean, Edward Scissorhands.
I don't
is
know
a-
anymore though.
It's
if
an
you-
amazing
Yeah,
film.
That's the only
yeah.
problem.
But I mean, he
Dark
has a lot of the
Shadows.
same people. Tim Burton had Danny DeVito as the Penguin in Batman Returns,
yeah, that
and
was great.
he was a great Penguin. I mean, that's
well, and
so-
Danny DeVito showed promise in this film too. I thought at the
no, I mean,
beginning.
him and Michael Keaton were the only two that I felt like
Ooh.
gave any kind of a performance.
Ooh, I thought
but
Michael
Keaton's
Keaton
character was
sucked.
terrible. His character was terrible. But again, I think he was
I think his
doing
over the top,
something, at
Yeah,
least.
I think his over the top performance is what.
Yeah,
Tim
it was
Burton
way too
asking
flamboyant.
for,
It was
but
way too much.
yeah.
But that, I mean, like I said, the opening of the movie had me, and I was like, "Oh, this is going to be good," and then it just fell short. Too many times throughout the movie, I kept getting like, "Okay, maybe it's going to ramp up and get better." The scene, God dang it, I can't remember the name of the song.
Baby Mine.
Baby Mine.
Oh,
That
yeah.
scene, like I sat there as soon as it started playing and she was singing the song, I was
gonna
like,
get me.
I like the way they're doing the song, but and I thought it's gonna get me in the feels, and I started kind of getting choked up. But I told you, it's actually because it made me think of the original animated film,
Same.
and that made me kind of well up in my eyes a little bit. Like that scene when I was a kid killed me,
yeah.
and they
It
were
still kills
they
me.
they tried to do it, but it failed miserably. And then it goes directly from that scene to something completely like action packed and not. It didn't give you any time for that to really sink in and
yeah.
allow you to emote on what just happened. So there were too many moments like that, and the end of the movie was a travesty. So, like, I mean, I'll turn it over to whoever.
I was
wants
going to
to
say
talk about
I'm
it
going to go
next.
last because mine is really summed up in one thing, one
Okay,
critique.
yeah.
But you
Oh,
wanna go
please give it to me.
No, no,
because
no,
I just have such.
It's your turn.
Okay.
Why don't you?
All
Why
right.
don't we let
Well,
him read his Facebook? His.
You have
his
it pulled
little-
up there,
his little
Nathan? Do you have
review.
it?
Okay,
Pull-
so should
Oh,
I read?
gosh.
Should I read this in an accent or like give it
just
some
as long as it's
give it
better
some
than
spice, some
what's his
flavor?
face's.
Because I mean, just talking about how much I hate this movie. I mean, I need to liven this
I
up.
feel like
somehow,
nobody
so
hated
anyway.
it, even though Sean gave it a lower rating.
No, I
than
hated
Nathan.
it. I hated
No,
it.
that's it. Even though Sean gave it a lower rating, I feel like Nathan hates it above everyone
Yeah.
else.
Easily,
doubt.
easily. So, so what I said. Do I need to go over this? I really don't need to go through
Just-
the whole
just give
thing.
us
I'll
your
just-
thoughts.
yeah,
Yeah,
sure,
just
sure.
give us
So-
your thoughts.
Okay, so basically, my hatred for it actually began before anyone even started talking. Even Keith and I were both the very first shot of the train. We saw the CG. You remember? You were like, "Gosh, that elephant looks fake."
Oh,
This is
yes.
literally like
Yeah.
the very first
the elephant
frame.
was going into the train, and it looked like an elephant in front of a green screen, and it looked it looked
Yes.
bad. And I was
Yeah.
like, well, that thing looks awful.
Oh
yeah,
my gosh! And I literally within 15 minutes, I was ready to go. And I even looked at Keith. I was like, I want to go so badly right now.
Yeah, but
I'm
you had
just-
done paid $18.
Exactly, and that's why I stayed. And because the original film is almost 80 years old.
Yeah.
which is still crazy to think about that it's that old.
The fourth animated film Disney ever did, and it's still to this day a brilliant movie.
Still,
Yeah.
yes. And so I'm thinking, okay, there's enough time from the original debut to now. Okay, it's okay for somebody to kind of do their own twist on it. And Tim Burton.
Well, that's what I wanted was their own tale,
Exactly.
yeah.
And Tim Burton, oh my gosh. Like, you talk about like a dark twist here. Like, I had high expectations. And literally within 15 minutes, I was done. Literally, I wrote, came crashing down to earth like a sack of potatoes. My expectations did. Although a sack of potatoes could manage to muster up more entertainment value than this cash-grabbing, embarrassingly lazy, putrid pile of cinematic excrement.
Wow. All right. All right.
But and then just moving along, shall we? Timothy Mouse. I mean, we get the little mouse dressed up in the
To
circus
be
outfit.
fair,
you know.
did we really need a Timothy Mouse, Nathan? That wasn't.
We needed a Timothy Mouse a lot more than we needed those two kids.
I will give you that.
Those two kids were god awful.
Now wait
They
a
were
second.
absolutely dreadful.
I was gonna give
The little boy was better than the
the
girl.
little boy
Yeah,
was better than
yeah.
the little girl. I was gonna give the little girl the benefit of the doubt when we first started because she was supposed to be detached, and very emotional
Yep.
with everything that had gone on, and I was like, okay, I can sense that kind of emotion coming from her. And then
That
as
ended
the
up
movie
being her.
kept going on, and they kept finding like, for one, I don't know why Dumbo needs feathers to fly and keeps sucking them up his trunk, and then now he magically can fly. So that was one thing that just never made any sense.
It was a
But the
callback to
thing
the
is-
original, but not done well.
No.
But it's
the
like
thing
you
was,
said.
So the thing is with the girl though, I as soon as they started finding these new ways to interact with Dumbo, and they were trying to warm up to him, and they were like, "Oh, I love Dumbo." Every single interaction she had, it fell flat. Her
Awful.
every you know, her tone and her voice was mute. It was just like a subtle monotone. the
It never
entire way.
changed.
Yeah.
It never changed. And we even had the discussion, well, maybe it's a personality trait. Maybe she's had some dark, traumatic past experience, and she has some walls that she has to break
Yeah,
through.
Tim Burton was her traumatic experience.
Well, like, I thought they were going for like she wants to be the scientist, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh,
So that was
yeah.
where all this, like, she's looking at it very.
The feminism thing was definitely there, but I don't think it was
Yeah,
overdone
no.
at all.
But
Like-
she never broke through.
No, she
She
didn't.
never,
Yeah.
It
she
never went
never
anywhere.
broke through that wall.
No. Yeah.
And literally, like you said, her face never changed. Fallen from a building,
Yeah.
same dull face.
Yeah.
Watching an elephant fly, which is no small feat, by the way.
No, elephants have huge feet.
And her face literally stayed the same the entire
No, it's-
movie. Just awful. And literally, at the end of the film, they sat there, we sat there, just completely dumbfounded. They started playing Baby Mine, Don't You
Let's
Cry.
get ready to Dumbo.
That was the best part of the entire movie.
You say that's the best part of the movie.
yeah.
That was the part of the movie where I said, nope, we are at the point of no
But that's
return.
why it was the best, because
No.
that was the part they nuked the fridge.
Yes.
The minute he said
So
that, I was like,
bad.
this movie
Nope.
has reached that point where it is perfectly awful.
Yep. And Alan Arkin said at some point in the movie, this is a disaster.
is a
I'm like,
disaster.
he perfectly summed it up.
Yeah.
This is a disaster.
I
so
honestly
just, you know.
was well. For one, Neil, do you have anything else to add to Mr. Curry's comments there?
So I think for starters, I probably saw the original Dumbo, but I was like 7 when I did. I don't remember anything about that movie.
Yeah.
Literally nothing. The feathers, for all I know, that was like the same exact thing in the original. I had no idea.
Yeah.
So there were definitely a lot of plot holes. The accents
Oh yeah.
were horrible.
Yes.
Like noticeably bad and inconsistent more than anything. So I don't know if I'm just like not feeling as harsh because I didn't see the original or what. It definitely wasn't super entertaining, which is why I gave it 1.5. But it wasn't the worst movie I've ever seen.
No.
So
It was better than A Wrinkle in Time.
Ooh, that one was real bad.
Yeah.
That was talk about worst movie of last
Sorry,
year.
Oprah.
But I'm glad that you bring that up, talking about comparison to the original. These are all based off of no comparison to the original whatsoever. Because if you watch the original and then watch this, they borrow a few key scenes, but then they kind of do their own thing with it.
I'm okay. Like that's what I wanted, and that's actually
That's what it
like
should
I didn't
be.
want to talk
Yeah.
a whole lot about Dumbo since I had already.
Yeah.
You got something on your face there,
I-
Keith.
Where?
I think it's from the box. There it was. Oh, it's a little
no, it's a scab. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Just a
I
scab,
thought-
Brandon.
I thought it was from the
No,
shock
it's
top
it's
box.
been there for like the whole time we've interacted.
I'm
It's
sorry.
been there.
I just wanted to tell you.
Go on, Keith.
I thought that's what he was talking about. I was like, is he talking about the?
Can we
scab
get makeup in here?
Anyway,
Where's my makeup?
shedding.
No, I didn't. Since I already wrote the review and you heard my thoughts, I didn't
Right.
really want to say too much about the movie Dumbo. But I read a really interesting article and that ties in with it. That is actually kind of what I wanted to mention was the fact that Disney is going back to all of the like every movie that was ever a classic is the ones they want to do a live action. But this article made a really interesting point. What they should do is some of the animated films that didn't do so well, they should do
Boom.
those live action.
Boom,
Like
yes.
Treasure Planet was a great movie, but it didn't fare well at the box office.
Yep.
Do that live action, and it could be incredible. Atlantis could be an incredible live action movie. Black Cauldron could be an amazing
Sword in the Stone.
Yeah, if they took some of the ones
one of
that
my favorites.
didn't, yes, if they took some of the ones that in their day, like they're loved now, but back when they released, they weren't as popular and made those live action and they did something interesting with them. They could have hits on their hands, but instead they want to take Beauty and the Beast, The Lion King,
I was going to say
movies that have already been cemented
in film history, as classics.
So anything they do is going to be hard to compare to. But if you take some of the ones that weren't as popular but are still loved and do something interesting with them, they could really do like have a massive hit. Now it is interesting that they don't think of that, because to them those aren't safe movies. Like those aren't movies that they can say, oh, we'll make a grand, like millions off that.
Right.
It's like, but they know no matter how they do with Dumbo, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, that they're going to make tons of money.
No, that's true.
Hercules was another one they mentioned could be an awesome live action adaptation if done right.
I mean, they're planning on doing The Little Mermaid, Mulan.
Yeah.
Those
Lilo
are the
and
next
Stitch.
Lilo and Stitch.
Are they doing a live action Lilo and Stitch?
Can you believe it?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
I like the animated movie, but I can't see that being a good live action movie at all.
Sean, you were saying?
No, I was just saying they've already. Those are in like pre-production, so I mean they're definitely doing Mulan.
Yeah, and
which
Little Mermaid. I think Mulan
I could see Mulan maybe, but Lilo and Stitch and the Little Mermaid is one of the other
that's
one of my favorite Disney movies.
That started
and
the Disney Renaissance.
Can't believe that they're doing a live action of that.
Absolutely.
Well, I honestly I can't agree more than with what Keith just said, and I don't know who wrote that article. That's brilliant. It's like
God bless you.
Yeah, there's been several different movies that it's like I mean I've seen. I can remember. I mean,
I could do a live action Home on the. I'm joking. the Rose. That would be awful.
It'd be better than the film I just watched.
It'd be better than the original Home on the Range, because that animated film was awful.
But that's the thing. Like, why not go back and I mean, even if you were to take animated films that didn't fare well and weren't good, I mean, it's like all of these that they're redoing are classic animated films.
Yeah, why not?
Whether it was a good movie and it just didn't fare well at the box office, or whether it was a bad, poorly animated film, and it could benefit from something that would be. I mean, because that's the other thing. You all the ones you said, Treasure Planet, Atlantis. These are all live action movies with live action characters.
Characters.
It's not just CG based like freaking Lion King or Dumbo.
When
which
they
even
mentioned
Dumbo,
the two they mentioned that I thought were brilliant was Treasure Planet and Black Cauldron. If they did those two live action, I think that could be incredible.
Yeah. Honestly, I think that's how we're going to wrap up our discussion on Dumbo is do that.
Yeah,
My only critique of the film was Tim Burton.
Yeah.
He was the only problem with this film. Tim Burton is done.
He's lost his touch.
He is done.
I guarantee
the fact
he's not done.
He's
No,
not
he's
done.
not done.
But
Disney's
the
gonna
fact
keep
that
throwing him money.
anybody would put his name on something and sell it, he's turned into the new M. Night. He's at the bottom of the barrel, and he's got a way to
have
come
a
back.
big comeback years from now.
I hope.
We hope.
Because M. Night's killing it right now.
That's the thing is M. Night had to return to his roots,
Right.
and he had to get back to what he knew was best and write stories that he knew would entertain based on how he could tell stories and the unique way he would tell stories. Tim Burton has gotten away. It was like we said, we talked about it afterward. In the movie, there's the one, and you say it in the review, there's the one part in the movie with the pink elephants and the bubble elephants that are floating around that is uniquely Tim Burton, but it does not fit because the rest of the film is not like that at all.
See, that scene, I loved the scene until the elephants actually started like dancing and stuff. If they would have just left it, the bubbles coming together to form the elephants, I felt that grounded the film a little bit more because they're trying to make it a little bit more realistic. And then when they started dancing and everything,
that's the part
it was
that
like
didn't
that
fit.
was the part that did not fit at all.
Right.
That completely a different tone from the rest of the movie, and it ruined that iconic scene. Like,
but again, I think it could. I agree. It
if
didn't
the whole
fit,
movie
but
had
if
been
the
like
whole
the dancing, I
film,
think it would have been good.
Yeah, I think if it all had been that unique and abstract, I mean, if you go back and watch Edward Scissorhands, it has some odd moments in it, and it's just an oddity all the way
whole
through.
movie, the whole
exactly.
movie is
But that's the
oddity.
thing is it's beautiful because it's done that way.
Everything about this had something that like would have been great from Tim Burton, because we've seen Big Fish that had like like the circus freaks, and then you've seen Edward Scissorhands and this and that, and I thought okay, you have Dumbo that centers heavily around a circus, and Tim Burton circuses already have like tons of films and stuff with bizarre elements because that's just the circus.
It's a
element.
recipe for brilliance.
Yeah, it is. It's like you give that to Tim Burton and he could do something amazing. And then when I'm watching Eva Green on the trapeze and I'm bored as crap, and I told Sean and Brandon, I was like, man, who should have made this movie? The guy that did Greatest Showman, because that would have been better than this.
That's true. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
Well, real quick, overall, do you think like these live action remakes, do you think that they are going to ultimately, because the younger generations haven't seen Dumbo, they haven't seen the original animated classics.
I say
Most of them.
parents, show your kids the original.
Do you think it's going to push people to say, hey, well, I know you didn't like that, but you need to see the original? Or do you think if the movie was better, it would lead people to fall back to the original?
I think
which one's going to spark more interest in the classic than...
I think just showing them the classic. I think, truth be told, I really do think that at the end of the day, what's going to happen is it's not even about the live action. I mean, the reason these live action films are so popular when they come out are because of the classics.
The nostalgia.
And a lot of the reason that people go see them is because they want to relive part of the classics they've already grown up with.
I get
as
that,
kids.
but the majority of the kids that went to see Dumbo never saw the original and may not until they've seen this one.
True.
And I'm just wondering, I'm just kind of curious, do you think it's going to...
And I was going to say, I think maybe Disney's banking off that. They're hoping that the new way of telling the story is not only going to spark interest in the I mean, it's like they're selling a double feature. It's hey, we're going to get the new generation hooked on the live action, and then we're going to have the parents rekindle that kind of generational gap that they have with their kids through the classic.
Oh, absolutely.
And then we're going to blend them together. But I honestly think a lot of parents are just going to be like, I'll show my kid the original first, then we'll go see the movie, and then we'll compare the two.
I think it works both ways, because I know my sister has shown my niece, a lot of the classic Disney movies, especially when one's coming up, and she's like, oh, well, let's watch the classic. So, yeah, I think it works both ways in that when these movies come out and you have, like, our generation that are parents now and that nostalgia factor driving them, then they remember them watching the originals as a child, and then they show their kids the original. So, I mean, I do think Disney's smart in that aspect, that they know that not only are they going to make money off of these live action movies, but now they can sell DVDs and Blu-rays to the parents to get them to show those to the kids, because like I said, my sister has shown Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast. I don't think she's shown Kinley Dumbo yet, but I mean all of the classic Disney movies she's been showing my niece, because my niece is loving them. So it is kind of
Let's
a way
ask our
to
guests
pass
here.
it up.
What do you all think?
Here's my thing. I don't mind the double feature thing, like you said. That's all well and good. But they both have to be good.
Yeah, exactly.
They both have to be good. Like, if you're going to put them next to each other, and this film was really the final nail in the coffin for me as far as these Disney remakes go. So, really, from this point on, for me, all these Disney remakes coming out, they're red box rentals. Honestly.
I mean, it's already got a bad taste in your
Honestly.
mouth.
I mean, I've seen the Beauty and the Beast remake. I've seen the Jungle Book remake. They're good. They're okay, but that's it.
Yeah.
They're
They got
not
nothing.
blowing my mind.
They're not
like the
timeless.
originals did.
Yeah.
So I'm like, there's no point. I mean, that ship has sailed.
There's only 2 live action remakes I think Disney really hit it out of the park with. And then the one that kind of started this whole trend was Cinderella, and that did so well that they went into doing all of the others.
Milked it for all it was worth.
And then way before that, before this trend ever started, the 1990 live action 101 Dalmatians was a huge hit when it came out. John Hughes wrote it, Glenn Close. Yeah. And it's kind of funny that it took this long for that to catch on after that movie, because that article that was talking about live action movies, they said 101 Dalmatians was one of those movies that made sense. It's loved by fans, but it never had the success as some of these others. And when they made that, and they had a great, like I said, John Hughes wrote the script. Glenn Close was perfect as Cruella.
And it was good.
And it was good. Yeah, it made a lot of money, and it was a critical success. And it's like, that had the right formula. But these newer movies they don't.
That's what I'm saying. Like with the movie, I know it's not a Disney movie, but Ben-Hur. When they did the remake of Ben-Hur, it's like that movie.
It doesn't
the
make
movie
any
was
sense.
so bad.
Right.
Why would you ever want to go spend 3.5 hours and watch the original?
Well,
I mean, that's
the
what I'm
thing
saying.
is, too,
If the newest one's not good, it's not going to spark an interest. I mean, if I never saw the original, I would say, I'm not watching another one of those. That's terrible.
And why remake a classic?
Well,
you're going to take a movie that won 11 Academy Awards and think you can remake it?
Yeah.
I mean, Titanic, you can, okay? James Cameron sucks. All right? But still, other than that, I completely agree. It's like, I just want to see these have success, but I honestly think it's a brilliant idea. And I think this is the way I hope maybe Disney starts to take it. I mean, it's not, because Lion King is going to come out and completely demolish what anything Dumbo was supposed to do.
Oh, yeah.
And they're basically, it's just going to skyrocket to the top.
Between Lion King and Aladdin, and then you got to think, I mean, not just those live action, remakes, but they also have Star Wars, Avengers. I mean, Disney has so many movies coming out that Dumbo is just going to be a little blip on their radar, and then they're going to keep going along because they're going to make massive amounts.
Well, and like
of money.
I said, the only thing I can hope is that this just keeps Tim Burton out of the job for a little bit longer, lets him go back, rethink life, and maybe return to something a little bit more creative.
He needs to.
That gets in touch with his younger days. That's what
they're pushing on Twitter and everything how it's the #1 movie in the nation, and I got them on Twitter saying like there's 3 movies this month were the #1 movie in the nation. I mean, Captain Marvel was #1, Us was #1, and now Dumbo's #1, and next week it'll be something else.
It'll be Shazam.
Shazam's
gonna whoop him.
Shazam will kill Dumbo.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you just wait. It's going to be Shazam. And then not only that, but you have Pet Cemetery.
Yeah.
I would not be
Godzilla
surprised.
comes out
I'm
pretty
calling
soon,
it
too.
right now. I'm calling it right now.
Uh-oh.
Shazam,
Yes.
Pet Cemetery. Now, here's the only thing. Because Us is rated R, and you have 2 rated Rs going back to back, I do think that will hurt the chances of Us being #3
Really? Yeah.
and Dumbo being #3 next week.
Yeah.
But it would not surprise. I'm gonna say it's gonna be Shazam, Pet Cemetery, Dumbo, then Us.
Yeah.
But if I'm wrong and Us ends up edging out Dumbo, it wouldn't surprise me in the least, and I'd be very happy with that.
Absolutely.
I'd be very happy.
And then not long after that, you're going to have Endgame, and then that's going to be Endgame for all of these movies.
Yeah, no. Well, I was gonna say, I'm glad you brought up Endgame, Keith.
Yeah.
I'm very happy. Gosh, you nailed this.
He knows how to segue.
He does know how to segue. So let's talk about our topic of the week, guys. We actually got 2 this week, but the very first one, let's talk about
The
that.
first one won't take long. I think.
No, it won't.
Yeah.
It won't. It's more about hype than anything.
Absolutely.
So Avengers Endgame pre-sales released this past Tuesday, broke all the servers.
Yeah.
It just killed everything.
Well, just AMC and Fandango.
Oh, who else do you need?
Who else do you buy movie tickets from? Yeah,
exactly.
They killed it. You could not. It was just a terrible time trying to buy a ticket, pre-order for that movie because they did. It crashed every.
Well,
server.
sometimes too these things like articles and stuff we read them and it never really ends up affecting us, but this one literally did.
No,
Like,
this one did.
You texted us and said, hey, they just announced tickets are set for sale, and we were all trying to get them, but AMC wouldn't let us do it. And we ended up able to get tickets on Fandango, but we actually had to pay for them.
Yes. Yeah,
we
which we're
couldn't use our
not used to
Stubs
have
app.
to doing because of AMC Stubs. But
Yeah.
but it's going to be worth it. So we have our tickets.
I was gonna say,
I'm excited.
exactly. Do you have your tickets?
Are we going to see you at the movies? Maybe
I
not.
think is the brilliance though. I loved how because they said there won't be any more trailers after the last trailer, and then when they dropped the
Pre-sales,
ticket pre-sale, now it's like, oh yeah, well this isn't a trailer, it's a teaser.
But I did think it was. I thought it was pretty funny that as soon as pre-sale tickets it said it was available, I was like, this is not going to be good. And then literally within I think it was in just a half hour.
Yeah,
the servers. I mean, I was trying to pull up the app, and
It
I just
felt
kept,
like a year.
It did.
It was only
Felt
30
like
minutes.
forever, but
yeah.
And it took, I think, a full 2 hours for them to actually get everything back online, so you could even open up the app and access
our
it.
apps were all 3 showing different things. Like yours was saying that it was sold out, and Keith was not even able to connect, and mine was showing all kinds of seats available. I'm like,
There's
what are
been
we doing?
movies in the past that have crashed servers, but I've never seen anything like
No.
this. Like it wasn't usually they'll crash and then they'll be back up in 30 minutes to an hour and things will go. This literally killed AMC's website and app. It just killed it.
Did you all get your tickets? Did you all get yours?
Not yet.
Oh no!
Well, you're not getting them now.
You're done.
I'm not a big opening weekend guy anymore.
I mean,
We
we kind of
have
have
to.
to.
We
be.
have to
Yeah.
because of the show.
yeah. I wait for the review, and then if it's worth it, I'll go see it.
Well,
but
Endgame's not even an option. You have to go see that.
It's
Not
like, how
just
do you, how
any
do you,
review, but the Red Moon.
how do you watch
There it
Infinity
is.
War? Yeah, that's right. How do you watch Infinity War and then not watch Endgame? You gotta. Yeah.
everyone's coming back.
So,
I know that.
That's
so.
not
but
true.
it's the how. Not
Yeah.
everyone.
I don't
Some
know.
people.
Tom
die
Holland's
and
gonna stay dead.
I've already read a leak.
Yeah.
Oh,
leaked
don't.
out
Yeah.
Oh,
stuff.
no. We don't have any viewers right now. We don't want to kill the rest
No,
that we
I'm
have.
not going to talk about it.
We have.
Hopefully, it won't be true. It'll just be like one of them,
Yeah.
just a hoax.
They did say that there would be some deaths that stuck, but a lot of.
Good.
I do think there's going to be, and I think people that died in Infinity War that people think are going to stick won't stick. I think there'll be a couple that do come back that they're like, oh, I really. But I think the people that die in this movie will stay dead. Whoever died in Infinity
They
War
better
may not.
stay dead.
Yeah.
Do you want them to stay dead?
I do. I really want
A
the
little
stakes
death
to be.
never hurt anybody.
I don't mind. Like I said, I don't a lot like Neil. Like a lot of people.
I
are
want
like
this to be
Neil.
like Game of
They
Thrones.
don't like
It's gotta have
the
gravity.
snap and
It's
the
gotta
everyone
have
dying
gravity.
because they're like, oh, well, they're gonna come back anyways. But to me, like that doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know they're coming back, but what's intriguing is
Well, but
how are they going to do it?
Here's the
How are
thing,
they
though.
gonna
But
bring it back?
okay, I agree. That was the trick of the first one. Is it was like, okay, I don't know how they're going to bring them back. That's what's intriguing. I know they're coming back, but that's what would make this one really good. Are the ones that do stick.
Yeah.
Because when they
Yeah.
don't come back in this one, you're like,
They're
wait
done,
a
yeah.
sec. Wait, well, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What's going? Like this one is definitive.
This is for
Yep.
because
So-
everything after like a lot of contracts are coming up. They're planning on moving on with new movies and new heroes, and it's like
Wasn't
it's
even
gonna change
playing on this,
everything.
but let's go around the table. Just pick one Avenger you think is dead, not coming back. I'll go first. Captain America. I think he's gone.
Yeah,
I think he's gone.
I agree.
What about you, Keith? You got to pick a different one.
A different one. That's my one because I
It's Captain America.
he's my favorite, and I want him dead because I just think like
Wow.
that.
All right, fine. I'll
sacrifice would
pick
be
another
great.
one. Thor. Thor's dead. He's not coming back.
No, I don't think that.
I think
one.
Thor will survive. I think
Fine. I'll pick another one. Tony Stark.
maybe-
Tony
yeah.
Stark's dead.
Maybe
He's
Tony.
not coming
I
back.
think, I think Iron Man's gonna die.
You think so?
Yeah. He's had enough movies.
Yeah.
You think he's gone?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Him and Hawkeye.
Ooh.
I think Hawkeye could
Hawkeye's
go.
a good
I do.
one.
Yeah.
And that would be a good
Good
one. Yeah.
answer.
See, my worry with that is Hawkeye has kids, and I don't think Marvel's
They'll
going
be
to do
okay.
that. I think Tony Stark, he don't have like family. He's just got.
See, I think that's why they would do it.
I think that's what would make it better though, because I think that's why, like, you know, he wasn't in Infinity War because he was supposed to be, you know, on House of Wrath with his family, and he retired.
You think his family?
I think his family
left in the
got.
snap.
I think they got snapped,
But then
and
they'll
now
come
he's
back.
out for blood. I
Yeah.
think they'll come back, but
But
I
he
think he'll
won't.
die in the process.
Oh, that would make it even
The
better.
sacrifice
I
to bring his
will
family back.
say that I am predicting that Captain Marvel is not the key to winning this.
I don't
fight.
either. I honestly,
I think
it's
they're building
Ant-Man.
it up.
I think it's Ant-Man.
Yeah, they're selling
Quantum.
it that
I think they're
way,
selling. I think she's gonna get into the fight with Thanos, and he's gonna kick her ass. I mean, that maybe not like totally like beat her down and kill her, but I think it's gonna be like they're gonna all think that she's the one, and
Yep.
she's gonna get there, and it's equal.
I
and
think
there's
she's going to
someone
play
else.
a crucial
Someone-
role.
Did you
I think
watch
she's a
that? I
crucial
agree.
role to getting
But
them
it's-
back
but
together.
She's not the one that's
but
gonna whoop
beyond
him down.
that, yeah.
No.
I do think Ant-Man plays a huge role. Did you watch the ticket announcement trailer at all?
Yes.
Okay, because I'm sorry, Neil. Do you want to earmuff? I know you don't like
No.
spoilers.
Yeah.
I just say, the shot of like Iron Man and Thor as they're approaching.
Oh man, you really
Thanos,
Neil
Oh,
is like
man,
out
yeah.
of this.
Yeah.
He said no.
As they approach Thanos
I
though
don't
in that
wanna-
shot, I was just like, oh man, it's going down.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they're here for blood. It's going
Yeah.
down.
Okay, you're
Okay,
clear.
all right,
You're
good.
clear.
All
You're,
right,
you're,
all
you're,
right,
you're
all
clear.
right,
You're
okay.
clear. You can put them back on now. Okay, great. No, I think. All right, so then those are just the. We're all looking forward to it though. That's the
Yes.
thing. We got our
Oh, yeah,
tickets.
yeah.
Yes.
I guess this is a great time to tease too.
Yeah, we need to talk about our schedule. For that
Yeah,
night.
because it's going to be a little different.
Yeah,
Be
yeah.
a little different than normal. So
Absolutely.
we normally have our podcast here live every Thursdays at 9 p.m. But because this is a midnight release, which they don't really
It's not
do
midnight.
It's
yeah.
just a 10 o'clock
Yeah,
release.
10 o'clock.
yeah, exactly. So they don't really do midnight releases anymore. They do like 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. releases on the night before. So we actually got our tickets for the 10 p.m. showing. So what we're going to do is be on from 8 to 9, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. the night that Endgame premieres, which is on
The
April
25th.
25th.
Yeah.
So April 25th, we're going to be on from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Then we're going to leave here, go see the movie. It's a 3-hour-long movie piece.
Yes.
Okay.
Can't wait.
3 hours long. It's
Yes.
huge. And then we're going to do a Facebook Live after in the parking lot just to give you a quick rundown of our first thoughts. Not a formal, official review. We're just going to blurt out exactly what we thought of the movie right after we saw it. And we're not going to do any spoilers. Don't worry. It's not a spoiler cast. It's probably going to be around like 2 in the morning because
Yeah.
we're going to see it so late. But just be looking for that. And then, of course, the following week, we will have an official Avengers Endgame review. But wanted to give a shout out there for all of our viewers and listeners that we will be doing an 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. on April 25th. Eastern time. Yes.
You always don't
I
say
d-
Easter.
I don't. Easter?
Easter.
Easter's coming
Easter's
too.
coming.
Easter's
It's
coming
right
too.
after Endgame.
Yeah.
Wait. So in the meantime, if people want to tell you what they thought, how do they contact you?
Oh, Neil,
Well, we
I'm
save
so
that for
glad-
the end
no,
of the
that's
show.
fine.
That's
Hey,
usually
no,
This
no.
is all out of whack. Go ahead.
That's usually the end
Tell
game.
them. Tell them.
The end game. Hold on. Now I got to pull it up. I
Pull
wasn't
it up. Go
expecting
ahead,
this.
pull it
Hold
up.
on,
Man,
hold on.
you don't even know it.
Well, I mean, you can just say it. You don't have to.
No, it's
Well,
got
Neil,
he's-
why don't you say it? You can kind of see the screen here, can't you? Can you see the screen here? Look
Yeah,
at
I
it.
can see
Yeah.
it.
Why don't you point
at it.
down?
Come
at
on,
what-
Neil.
We're
Oh, there you go.
RMPodcast
It's in his lap.
at redmoonproductions.com.
Whoa.
Say it one more
We're
time.
not pointing down there, Curry.
Whoa. RMPodcast at redmoonproductions.
Now
.com.
look down in his. There it is.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
right there.
It's right
It's
there.
right there.
I have
Good
nothing
job.
to look at
Yes.
here.
Good job.
That was
Imagination.
That was beautiful.
He
All
said-
right.
yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
That was fantastic. But now let's move on to our second topic of the week.
Yeah.
Can you believe we got two this week? It's so busy in the headlines. This one we're going to run through pretty quickly because it gets into some mumbo jumbo.
Yeah,
but
but
it's
it-
serious to talk about.
It is interesting.
We've talked about this. It's been a hot topic on our show as of late about Netflix and Spielberg and them going back and forth and streaming services. Should they be nominated for Oscars or not?
win Oscars. Yes, we should.
So
Yay.
the
You know.
DOJ, exactly.
That was great. That summed it all up right
That was
there.
it, yeah.
That was great.
Anyway,
Moving on to our
anyways.
relationship segment. No, so the DOJ has sent a little warning or a little note to the president of the Academy.
They did. They said,
You gotta finish it.
You didn't say the magic words.
There's always a Jurassic Park quote.
Always. But
Always.
they did. They said you can't do it. They said they warned them about doing it.
Yeah, I was gonna
And
say
they can't.
they don't get into any
Yeah.
specifics. All they do is say they wrote the Academy president and said, "Look, based on what we've heard, if you do kind of come up with any kind of rule that limits competition, you could be violating
Antitrust
laws and competition laws." And so, with that being said, there's been no formal complaint. Again, the Academy, like they don't have litigators themselves that
Yeah.
can go through and decipher
Exactly.
what this all means and also try to figure out a way around it. I mean, this is just small potatoes. But the fact that the government is getting involved to say, hey, you can't just oust streaming services from your Oscar ceremony.
tell them they can't win because you don't like them.
Exactly.
It's like-
So with that being said, what are your all's thoughts on the government getting involved in this?
I don't like it when the government gets involved in anything.
Exactly.
Agreed.
But I don't mind them pointing out the fact that we understand that this is a topic right now, and you just need to tread carefully.
Yeah.
Like I don't mind that at all, but I definitely don't want the government really getting involved.
My
in
thought
everything.
is why?
So-
Why are they even bringing this up? Like, what
Well,
even brought this about?
Look, obviously the DOJ really likes Netflix. And they're
That's
like,
what I'm
oh
saying.
no,
Yeah.
they got to win.
I mean, when you have huge companies like Disney and Apple and Netflix and Amazon,
Yeah.
huge companies that are potentially going to be hurt by this if they do change the rules.
But
and
then
try
who
to
does that tell you
exclude it.
that the government's in bed with? Big companies?
Big companies?
well,
Oh, yeah.
obviously,
Mm-hmm.
we all know Walt Disney runs the government. He's still alive.
But that's why I also think I'm in agreement with you, Sean. At the end of the day, I don't want any government involvement at all.
No.
Why the hell are you even touching my entertainment? Just stay out of it. I don't care.
They
But-
suck at everything else. They
Yeah,
should
yeah,
stay out
yeah.
of this too.
It's like you can't run the country while you're trying to run Hollywood.
Exactly.
But Hollywood is also a big company.
Yeah.
It's made up
Yeah.
of a lot of big companies.
Truth.
So like, it does make sense to me in a lot of ways.
But then here's the thing too, with you saying that though, I mean Hollywood being comprised of a lot of companies, the Academy itself represents all of those companies. So
Yeah.
could the DOJ really aim their attack at Hollywood? Because really it's a bunch of
It's-
it's a multiple company.
It's weird because the Academy already has rules in place on who like can and can't be nominated. Like they already have guidelines.
Right.
So and it's not like they're saying, well, you're already discriminating because if your movie doesn't air in this many theaters. It's kind of weird. Like it's like what is and isn't breaking an
Exactly.
because there's already certain stipulations, and them making more stipulations. Like that seems like something they should be able to do.
They're saying though that these new stipulations and these new rules are targeted specifically at streaming services
that's true.
keeping them out of the Oscars.
Yeah.
Well,
and
and-
so
and-
that is it's in itself a discrimination. The rules that they have been in place
well,
for
here
a long time.
The thing is I think that's why they're saying it now is based on the lingo they've heard from Spielberg and other members of the Academy.
Right.
It seems as if their specific purpose has been directed primarily at streaming services and Netflix in general.
Yeah.
So with that being the case, I think that's why they're sliding this little note saying, "Hey, you can come up with your own rules and regulations on who can be nominated, but if you're specifically targeting a certain business or entity, then you got a problem.
Yeah.
That's
what they're doing.
Right. And with that, I mean, that's kind of the point of them breaking up monopolies of any kind. So I guess in that sense, it's okay that they're treading in those waters, that the government's getting involved. Overall, I'd kind of be like, look, it's way too early in the game.
Yeah,
There's been no rules or any of any
It's
sort
mostly just
created.
Spielberg spouting off. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I never really believed the Academy was ever considering that anyways. I just felt like it was just Spielberg being crotchety, which now he's in league with Apple. Yeah, you know. So I don't know. I agree with you. I think it's a little early for them to worry about it right now anyway.
I agree. I agree completely. What about you guys over there?
Yeah, what do you think?
Neil's already spoke. Nathan, did you have anything to say?
Nathan.
I've already said, you know, I'm kind of piggybacking off of Sean a little bit. You know, just stay out.
Stay out of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it definitely is
Let
early,
the
but
storytellers
yeah.
be storytellers, and you know, just if whatever platform that is, you know, I've followed the past podcast where you know it's if you're making good movies, you're making good stories, like let the storytellers be storytellers. You know what I mean?
The government should stay out of Hollywood, and Hollywood should stay out of the government.
Ooh,
Mic drop.
I like the way you say that. That's
Copyright
pretty
2019.
good. Yeah.
Also, thanks to Neil for pointing this article out to us. I know this is
Yep.
actually from Variety, but you are the first one who kind of sent something from The Verge
Yeah.
about the whole thing, so we wouldn't even know about it. If
Yes, thank you for giving us our topic.
Thank you, Neil.
anytime, guys. Anytime.
I was going to clap, but then it was funny for Brandon to just be the only
Only one
one
that
we
clap.
weren't doing it.
I
Yeah.
agree.
I mean, you didn't hurt me. You hurt Neil.
I didn't hurt Neil.
No.
Neil knows I love him.
I know Keith is happy. I can see it on his face.
All right.
Yeah, all right,
Moving
guys.
on.
I think we're ready to move on to our unique weekly segment.
Let me tell you about the birds and the bees and the flowers and the trees and the moon up above and a thing called love.
Aww.
When I look into your big brown eyes, it's a very plain to see.
Okay.
I love that.
I love it.
That was beautiful.
I
Hey,
feel
that
so
was so
good
good.
now.
That was
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
The
So
best part
happy.
was that I came back to Keith on cam, and then
Yeah.
it dissolved from his face into yours, Sean.
That's great.
It was just beautiful.
All right.
It was so
Because
good.
it felt like he was singing to me
I was.
because I have brown eyes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Aw, with
So-
gray
Did you say
hair.
brown
that's-
hair or brown eyes?
Brown eyes.
We'll have
That's
both.
The lyrics.
What?
but-
It used to be brown.
Oh man.
What was that song, Keith? What was that song we used to sing all the time? It was was it When Smoke Gets in Your Eyes?
Oh yeah, when smoke gets in your eyes.
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
Yeah.
No. There was another one. There was like a.
I don't know what you're talking
Steven
about. man.
Spielberg, man.
All I remember, I said,
always.
the only
You
thing.
see that
This is
movie.
gonna sound really.
No,
bad.
I think
the
you know
only
which one I am
The
talking
only
about.
song I ever remember us singing was Wham. Last Christmas.
That's true.
No.
We did the dishes to that song.
Yeah, we did.
Wow.
We did.
What a start to the
it's-
relationship
Yeah.
I'm
segment.
just saying.
That bromance right there.
It is a
They
bromance.
did the dishes together.
Oh.
Nobody ever knows. This goes way back, you know.
I mean,
Keith and
that's my wife and I don't do the dishes together, so that's
We did. We did
That's
the dishes
something.
together while listening to Last Christmas by Wham.
and Johnny Mathis.
We did listen to Jeff. Well, it's not Christmas
And he
until there's
is
Johnny
gay.
Mathis.
So, you know, we were. I'm just saying.
all right. Relationships.
All right. So this week's topic, Mr. Neil over here. Oh, he's getting hitched soon.
100 days.
Oh, to be fair, we do have another friend who's getting hitched soon. I would like
Much
to give
sooner.
a shout out to,
Yeah.
to
Actually, yeah.
Jacob. 'cause
Yeah.
His
a heck of a lot sooner.
his wedding will be a day after. Well, 2 days after the live, but a day after the audio goes live. So, you know,
2 days from now.
yeah.
That's a great way to say it.
So,
Okay,
Is that it?
Jacob.
yeah.
I thought
just
you wanted to
give
give a
shout
little
out.
bit more of a shout out.
I just want to say congrats, Jacob.
There you
'cause
go.
We're proud of you,
Hi, Jacob.
and we love you, and we hope your wedding is very nice.
Everything
Oh.
you wanted and more.
We are gonna make it nice.
I was
You're
gonna
gonna
try
make it
not to, but I
very
guess we
nice.
can.
I'm
Well-
gonna make you make it nice.
I'm just glad to be invited. I mean,
Saw that coming. Yeah.
So here's the thing. We do want to congratulate Mr.
Yeah,
Jacob,
absolutely.
Jacob. We've all got our tuxes, the ones that are going to be in the wedding.
Well,
and the
we've
ones
all
who are
got
coming.
we've all got pieces. We've all got pieces of our tuxes, but by tomorrow we'll have
See,
all
Jacob
of it.
doesn't know that
Uh.
Sean's got a tux, and he's
Oh.
going to be in the wedding. He's going to be in the wedding.
Huh.
But
the
Good
ring
on you.
bearer.
So the thing is, though,
There, that would
while
be
we want to
great.
congratulate Jacob, we also
Absolutely.
spent this previous weekend celebrating our good buddy Neil here and his bachelorhood because he is getting hitched this summer when we go up to Boston and celebrate him and Miss Megan.
Boston.
Yep.
Megan and Neil become meal.
You ready, Megan?
100 days. 100 days away. So, Mr. Neil, while you are about to get hitched, we wanted to, well,
Uh-oh.
I don't know, ask you what it is you're anticipating about marriage. And also because there's 2 of us that are single here and 2 of us that are married, maybe impart some kind of wisdom as to what you're going to gain and what you're going to lose. I don't know.
I'm the one that's in between. Like,
Exactly. So maybe you know the most. So first off, Neil, what are you expecting out of this holy matrimony?
What am I expecting?
Yes.
I don't even know what that means. I'm expecting just.
He's expecting to get married.
Well, I don't see it as anything's really changing. It's just putting like an official title on it, and now we can start a family and like our love and our relationship is like somehow official. But I just want to have a big party and celebrate with everybody and have everybody I love in one place, including the one I love the most.
Aww. That was just like a relationship's open. I love it.
I know it. She said, "Don't mess it up." Though.
Oh, okay. How'd I do?
She's
Mess it up,
watching
though.
right now.
She's watching.
She's watching.
Yeah, no,
Oh.
she was ready for this relationship segment.
Oh.
So you informed her ahead of time? You let her know what was going to be talked about, discussed?
Oh no, but she
Oh.
knew it was relationship this week.
So
Oh.
she wanted to
Is
hear.
she a fan of our relationship segment?
She's
Neil?
a fan of every segment.
Aw.
That's why we like Megan more than. That's why we like Megan more than you.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
So okay, Sean, what about you? You're married. You've been married now how many years?
Almost 12.
12 years.
Yeah.
Miss Amelia.
Yeah.
So you're obviously the one in the room that has the most wisdom when it comes to married couples.
You would think so.
So impart some of that wisdom.
It's a little bit different for me because, and this is, I mean, no offense, obviously I love you, you're my brother, but you know, like you said, it's you're already living together, so it's really like not a lot is changing. But for me, it was like me and my wife, like we had never lived together, we had never played house together, we had never done the dishes together, we had never.
You were missing out.
That's when
we
it
had
gets
never
serious.
really like done anything together, and when I say anything, I mean anything, even in our physical side of our relationship, nothing. So it was like marriage was a big step. So you know, I don't really know how to convey that over to you because you've kind of already been there, which is fine. But it is a bigger step mentally and the challenges ahead. There's nothing bad about it. I mean, you're gonna have the same challenges you have before, but now you're one. You are, and like you said, if you want to have a family, then it makes it ever so much more important. So I just, you know, I'd like to pull out a Bible and say, love your wife like Christ loved the church.
Yep.
That just means give her everything every part of you, and expect the same from her, Megan. That means you give every part of yourself to Neil as well. And if you have children, do not put your kids before your wife. Your wife is number 2, and your kids are number 3. So you love them with everything you got, but your wife is your wife. So put her first.
Yep.
And I think you'll have a happy marriage.
I will say I have always appreciated, because you said this before, that you need to maintain the relationship with your wife and not let kids kind of distract you from that
Yeah.
relationship, because that's where the kids are coming from. So
Yes. One day they'll be gone, and you don't want to just be mom and dad left at home. You want to
Right.
still be husband and wife.
Yep.
So
Which it's interesting. I love the way you said that. You know, one day they'll be gone, because that was the interesting part of being the baby and leaving home.
The baby.
The baby.
I'm the baby too.
But when I left home, it was weird getting back into noticing my mom and dad being a couple, because my entire life growing up, and obviously with my brother and sister ahead of me,
They were mommy and daddy.
they were mom and dad, and not only that, but they were parents. They acted like parents. They
Absolutely.
did things like parents. They sacrificed so much for us to have so much. And so when we were all done and gone. And of course it was sad. My mom didn't want to see that. No mom ever does. But then it was like when I started coming back around and visiting, it was weird to see them interact as like a couple. And like in a weird way, I was like, it's not that I ever thought, oh, you know, that's weird. It was just to see them interact differently, or I guess it wasn't different. It was just the way they talk to each other, you know, and I could just spot little differences in conversations. And it was like, even as if it was like if I had just removed myself from the room entirely, they would still have the same conversation.
Yeah.
And it was just so bizarre to me because I was like, I just wasn't expecting that, I guess, because for so long I'd only seen them in that one way.
Yeah.
But it was also beautiful because finally seeing them back together, you know, as a couple again, where they were focusing on just one another besides their kids. That was also incredible as well.
Well, yeah,
and also an incredible example to witness as somebody who wants the same thing someday.
Right. You're not, as a child, you probably don't remember your parents like acting like a married couple.
Yeah.
I really honestly can't remember like my mom and dad ever like kissing other than just a
Being
smooch.
touchy-feely.
Yeah. I can't. But I can honestly say, like, don't hide that from your kids. Let your kids see a normal, happy, loving, affectionate marriage.
Let them see that you love your wife.
Exactly.
Right,
Exactly.
yeah.
So I mean, I even tell Sawyer sometimes if he's talking back to Amelia, like I've pointed at him and said, "You don't talk to my wife like that," instead of saying your mother, because I want him to know that that's my wife, and it's not just your mom. She's part of mine too, and you don't talk to her that way. So I coming to her defense, and this is long down the road. Please, God.
Yeah. Just for the record, we're not having kids right now.
Have at
We're
least
just getting married.
So see,
least
would you
5
say?
years,
I would say, would you
at
say that's a
least
piece
5
of sage
years
advice?
of marriage before you have kids?
5 years.
I think you need, even though you've been living together and you probably already feel and act like a married couple, be married for a while and have that married time to cement it and build a foundation. Then have kids, and it will be so much. I'm so glad that we didn't have kids when I wanted to, because I wanted to right off the bat, and I'm glad for every second of that 4 or 5 years that we waited, because I mean, this time, even this time, is a break for me, and don't be afraid to take a break either as a man, and your wife will need a break too from marriage.
Yep.
Get away with guy friends and have her get away with girlfriends. You can't just be together all the time. You've got to have that break. And we see that, you know, next door with Brandon's neighbor, and we get together with him because he knows what it's like too. So just Nathan, you go.
That was beautiful.
I was gonna say, no. So Nathan, you've also been married now for 4 years. Has it been 4?
It'll be 5 in July.
Okay, 5 in July. So you give us some of your words of wisdom in marriage.
Well, first and foremost, the woman is always right. Even when she's dead wrong.
Here he goes.
You
He's gonna
know
break out the
she's wrong.
cliches.
Here we go.
She's always right. You remember that, you will have a long, happy marriage.
Does Morgan watch this? Because I really wish she did.
She
does.
Hi, dear. She's probably sleeping right now, but hi, Morgan. Hi, Joshua. Love you both. Shout out.
We're gonna talk about. We'll talk about kids.
Yeah,
we
there
just
you go.
had the 5-year rule, but we'll talk about.
But
that in a sec.
all jokes aside, you know, and the last thing you said, absolutely, just harping on that really you love each other. You've been together for a while, but you know you are not going to be her sole source of happiness.
Right.
Like when you make one person your entire world,
your
world
absolutely.
gets really small.
You're right.
Really quickly. So love each other, be in love with each other, but you know, just don't make her your god, basically,
Right.
because
that's
she's a
huge
human
burden to
being.
bear, yeah.
She, you know, and when you put her on that pedestal and then, you know, she doesn't deliver the way you want her to, and whatever field that is,
What
you know,
way
it's
does
like,
she not
no,
deliver?
we know what you're saying, Nathan. You set yourself up for that one.
Yeah,
really
you did.
but
You Dumbo.
all the I hate you. No, but
Too soon?
yeah, no. But you know, just love each other, and like he said, set a good example, and just, you know, communicate. Communication is key. Talk
yes.
to each other.
Yes.
When you're feeling bad, you know, don't just go into your man cave. Like if there's something wrong, talk it out.
Yeah.
And work those things
Should
out.
you? Is this the one I've always heard? Every wedding I've ever done and video, like always, the one piece of advice I hear them give the couple is don't go to bed
mad at each other.
Yes.
Yeah. No.
But would you say? I mean, that's true.
Oh, you will go to bed
Yeah.
so mad at each other sometimes. I mean,
We just said
there will
don't
be-
do that.
No, but
Try not
there,
to.
but that's life.
Yeah.
There will be times you will get on
Would
each
you say
other's
if you
nerves.
go to bed mad at each other though, it's still not resolved, so that it does worse in the sense that you're
my,
gonna have to come
my
back
wife
to it
hates me
eventually.
because I will keep her up till 3 a.m.
Ooh.
talking about what is going on, and so
Right.
I don't want to go to bed
until it's
with
resolved.
that weight on me that my wife hates me right now.
That's
Like,
how I
can't
am as well.
do it.
Yep.
So I'll keep her up until.
Do you
the
think
conversation's
women
done.
and men differ in that sense? Do you think they know intuitively? Like if I stay up, or if I go to bed and they know I'm pissed at them,
Oh yeah.
then
yeah.
they know it's going to
Yeah.
eat away at them. So
Yeah.
they
I
intentionally
feel like
do
men
it.
men do want things to be resolved quickly.
Yes.
And women will let it fester, and they'll hold on to
I-
it
I
for a
They
think
while.
this
remember. They
They'll
remember.
Oh,
That's
they,
right.
They
I think it goes to the
remember.
fact
They
that
never forget. They're
they
like
hold
an
a grudge
elephant.
longer.
They
Yeah.
never forget.
But I think it goes to the fact that it's
Yeah.
true. Women tend to hold a grudge longer because they do. They remember longer. Men,
Yes.
it's like we get ticked off, but then we forget about it or
Yeah,
we don't
we're
care
friends
anymore.
the next day,
It's
like
like
it's
it's
not-
like in 2 minutes. It's like you know what? I really don't care about this. Why am I mad? So
Yeah.
then you just stop. But I mean, yeah, women. And I think it's because of the more emotional angle. They'd be a little bit
Well,
more.
but I think
yeah.
it still goes back to what
I think
Sean was
that-
saying.
I think
You
their
still
feelings
want a
get hurt worse.
resolution.
You-
I
yeah,
think the problem with
absolutely.
the guy is we want to fix it. We see a problem, we're like, well, let's fix
fix it right now.
And a
Oh,
woman's
yeah.
like,
Sometimes you got to use a hammer.
to fix it. Yeah,
Well,
true.
because
At 2 a.m.
women come from like that more emotional pace, and they're like, we need time. It's
Yes.
not the easy fix. And men are like, no, we
yes.
we got to fix it now. We got to,
Yes.
yeah.
That's
And
right.
it's the logic versus emotion.
We're not at all trying to scare you
no.
or anything like it's
My fiance is a counselor.
there you
Like,
go. She'll probably
like-
counsel you into submission every time.
Every time.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
But
But
I mean-
I need it. I need it. So
You will fail each other. I mean, just
That's just fact.
you will.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
just-
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Now, describe that. Go into a little bit more detail on that. You will fail each other.
Well, I mean,
it was a very definitive. I
yeah,
like that,
you,
but
you
let's describe
expect
that.
you expect perfection. You expect for your spouse to love you through. What are the vows? I've done forgot them. It's been 12 years.
In sickness and in health,
and
for
rich
rich
or
or for
poor, all that
poor.
stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean,
All
the,
that stuff.
the reality of it is, you're going to let each other down
Right.
from time
Human.
to time, and just don't strive for that perfection, because then when you do fail each other, it's a huge letdown.
Right.
But you're going to, and
Or
you'll
should
work
you-
through it though.
It's one of those things where it's not necessarily you shouldn't strive for it, or you should know while striving for it, you're going to let each other down.
Well, yeah,
and that
yeah.
you ultimately are coming to terms with understanding.
Yeah,
you're going to
I
let
mean,
each other.
I'm just
down.
saying, like in the scope of our belief here, like you're still a sinner, even if you may be
Yes.
saved. You need to recognize that you're still going to sin, but we are supposed to reach for that bar, even though we know full well we fall short. So
But you have to find that completeness
Yeah.
not in your spouse. That goes beyond you, beyond yourself. You will only find that completeness with your creator.
Yeah.
And, once you realize, that you are loved, it makes it easier to pass that love on to
Yes.
somebody else.
Oh. absolutely true.
But yeah, I agree.
That's
That was one of our relationship topics in the
was.
past.
Yeah.
It was God. And,
Specifically,
learning-
Keith and Brandon's relationship.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
well, I mean,
And Johnny
learning to love
Mathis.
yourself and having a love relationship with God first. I mean, those were two different ones. But yeah, I mean, a lot of that comes.
If
comes
you
second
don't
forward.
realize that you are loved, it's impossible to
can you
love
ever
other
love?
people.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
yeah.
So,
man. That was beautiful. That was
Well, it
beautiful.
is
Real quick, I'm going to
beautiful.
just touch on kids.
comment.
Kids, because you all both have kids. There's not much to really share from the single side. You've been single a lot longer than you've been together with Megan, so it's like
Yep.
you know that side.
You
of
got that down pretty well. So.
Yeah. So it's like, really what we wanted to talk to you, Neil, about is kids.
Okay. Children,
One day
they
you'll
exist.
be a papa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen
That's-
Neil with my kids, so I kind of
He's a good
feel like
Nino.
he's ready. I don't know. Some people are ready to handle other people's kids, but then they might not be ready to have that responsibility themselves. But I'm not speaking for you.
because when you
just
have
saying.
like nieces and nephews and stuff, when you get tired of them, you give them back.
but
Yeah.
that's true.
You can't
Oh,
do
yeah,
that.
that's true.
You can't do that with your
Or you
own.
can get on a plane and fly 1,000 miles away.
I will say this though, when you have
Flee. I flee the
nieces.
scene.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I get to flee the scene whenever,
Oh, yeah.
Sawyer's pitching a fit about his phone or whatever, and
You can run away.
I just run
what,
away.
a phone. How old is
He has an old
6 years
iPhone
old?
that he plays games
Oh,
on.
okay.
Yeah,
It doesn't do
just
anything.
Oh, I
games,
mean, yeah. I mean, I'll be playing with my nieces or hanging out with my nephews or something, and like I could be holding the youngest, and when she starts getting ticked off, I'm like, here, take this.
Well, and I've even noticed this too with my nieces and nephews. It's like there's that, but it's like thankfully I love the fact that coming from the same cloth as my parents, my
Yeah.
brother and sister. It's like they have raised their kids also in ways that I know we were raised.
Yeah.
So it's like they're much more tolerable. I've met other people's
Oh,
kids
yeah.
that I can't stand.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, I would not put up with you. And so it makes me feel a little bit more encouraged that it's like I love my nieces and nephews. So I know that I could tolerate my kids someday whenever I have them. Again,
Because you're
here's
gonna
the
raise
other
them
thing,
right.
though.
And they're still gonna make you angry.
But again, and this is where another big question comes into play, because other than just having kids being difficult for kids' sake, Sean, you talked about this. I think it was just this past weekend. Parenting, in terms of coming at it from the same side, the fact that parenting is a teamwork.
It is.
And it's like if you come at it from two different angles,
and you
and
won't
don't
always
discuss-
agree. Yeah, you
Right.
did mention that you won't always.
If you can't agree about your parenting style, or at least meet and compromise on that, that'll eat you up. Because my idea for discipline is completely different than my wife's idea of discipline, and that's one thing that we butt heads on. But ultimately, at the end of the day, when I set a punishment or a like grounding Sawyer, or if it comes to the point where he needs, a butt whooping, like my wife is behind me, even though later on she might be like, I think you were a little hard on him. At that moment, though, we're in a agreement, and she will never, and I will never let our sons see us go toe to toe about how to discipline them. We've got each other's back at that moment, and it might be later, like I said, that she says, I don't think a week was. I think that's a little too long to ground him from TV or games or whatever, and and that's okay. Next time, I won't do it for that much. But right now, you agree, and she,
Right.
oh yes,
It's
we're
a
not
it's a
gonna do that
united
in front
front.
of our-
A united front. Yes.
But with
Absolutely.
kids too, it's also important to know that having kids is not a step in your relationship. It's not the next step. It is completely selfless. Like you are taking yourself out of the equation, and you're investing in a human life. Like I hear so many people. It's like, well, we got married, we took that step. Now we're taking the next step and having kids. Kids aren't a step; they're a blessing, and they're something that
And a
you are
curse.
going to pour in. No, they're not a curse. But you're going to pour everything you've got into them for the rest of their lives, and for the rest of your life, because they'll probably outlive you, hopefully. But that's just remember that. Don't make kids like our relationship needs something more, so let's have a kid. That's
Right.
that's going to ruin your relationship if that's the way you attack it. But just mold and sculpt and make the kid into the best version of you and the best version of Megan, and you'll raise a decent children, hopefully.
So I think the question I'm left with is, what's going to happen on this podcast when we do have kids? Because right now I'm 100 days away from marriage. Like,
Oh,
Yeah.
it'll be whatever it is.
Well, I'm
It'll
planning
be
on
good.
handing over the directing duties and everything else. They're gonna my little minions are gonna be running this crap. So what's your question?
just like I get it, but like, what else do you have for me about marriage? There's a lot of kid stuff.
Okay, I
Yeah,
gotcha.
you did. You kind of pushed me and Nathan into the dad thing. So
I did. Well, and
I just don't want Megan to watch this and be like,
kids
what
are.
is
oh,
he
we
telling
listen,
these
we talked
people?
about it this past weekend. Neil
Megan.
wants kids.
Megan, you're going to
Immediately.
have.
No, he did not.
Megan, you shall birth a child.
It was weird because like Darren
And his name shall be called.
Colin, and everybody's asking like all these questions about
Felicia.
having kids and stuff, and I'm just like, I'm trying to not have kids this weekend, and you're making me talk about my kids. But
Children are a blessing.
They are.
yeah.
So is your
no,
wife.
and I get that. Like, I see that in your life. I mean, it's amazing. I love my nephews.
But right now you're focused on the marriage part, as you should. And like Sean said, I mean, I'm not married. I don't have kids, but like Sean said, I like to think when I do get married, I don't want to rush into having children. I would like to spend time with my wife and get to know my wife and build a marriage. And I think that is a good thing to do. And I think it's excellent advice from both Sean. I mean, Nathan agreed.
I completely concur. I mean, same thing. Don't have kids. Don't have any prospects. Don't it's like
we have each.
What about marriage?
Well, when it's legal here, no.
We'll just continue washing the dishes together until then.
Until the right ones come along in the kitchen and join us.
And then all 4 of us can wash dishes the Wham.
It'd be the most dysfunctional family.
Honey,
That would be. That'd be a TV
honey, it's a
sitcom
Christmas.
right there.
Honey, it's a Christmas tradition. We got to go to Brandon's. We're gonna wash some dishes, listen to Wham. I mean, come on, get your jacket on. Like, I've known him a lot longer than you. You're just gonna have to get used to it.
But see, I will say though, again, yes, I think Sean hit on all the right points. I mean, he covered the whole gambit. It's like, to me,
he's a wise old sage.
I do. I think it's just one of those things where when you take the time to, make that vow, make that promise, and
that's a great way to put it. Mm-hmm. It's a promise.
It is. I mean,
it's a promise to each other, and it's whether you like it or not, you're making a promise to a higher power too.
Yes. Because that's the thing, is it may be a ceremony for all of us to get together and hang out and enjoy the day with you, but it's a promise and a vow to not only each other, but yes, to that higher power, that it is a sacrifice you're willing to make regardless of what adversity you may face and whatever difficulties may come in the way, that ultimately that solemn pledge you're making in front of God it's unbreakable. And ultimately that when you, no matter what troubles or trials or tribulations you may go through, and there's going to be plenty, and that's the thing, is it's like, you all have been together for how long now? 3 years? Has it been 3?
Almost. It'll be 2.5.
2.5? So
Yeah.
2.5 years, and then, I mean, you're now making this pledge that no matter what, through thick and thin, even beyond those 2.5 years, it's like,
right,
you haven't even seen life's trials yet together, but no matter what, you're going to weather the storm. And I think that's why it's perfectly understandable and acceptable to say, before we're willing to give that part of ourselves over to another life, we need to make sure that we've got it down to sacrifice that for each other.
Yep.
And also, when you put that much focus and attention on one another, I think it does just make you a better team, and it makes you better prepared to face life's troubles. I mean, because I think a lot of times people get caught up in the romantic side of marriage, and I think it's the mundane, smaller little things. I always love the part in Good Will Hunting. I got to throw a movie out there.
Yeah.
When him and Matt Damon are sitting there talking about, all the different things they talk about. And Matt Damon, of course, very early on realizes if he goes after
Skyler.
No. I'm trying to think. Why am I forgetting
Minnie
his name?
Driver? Oh, no.
No, Robin Williams. Gosh,
Oh.
I cannot remember Robin Williams' name. But when he goes after Robin Williams' wife,
He comes to her defense.
He comes to her defense, and he's like, "That's the one topic you're not going to touch."
Yeah.
And Matt Damon gets it real quick, but he specifically talks about in a story to kind of break the ice and the tension a little bit. Robin Williams explains to him about his wife farts in her sleep, and it's like, and he starts going on, and Matt Damon's cracking up, and it actually was an improv
All
scene.
improvised.
And
by
it
the way.
was completely improvised, and it got Matt Damon cracking up. But the way he describes it is I remember he says it's all those little peccadillos. He calls them that, those little idiosyncrasies that they shared together that nobody else knew between him and her. And it was it's really that combination of as close as you could get to another human being, and as close as you could possibly get to anybody on this earth. It's like, I would value that, to say, this is truly somebody I can trust in, and I can show a side of myself that nobody else will see. And I think that's incredibly powerful. And I think if you really aspire to that and achieve that, it's like, well, of course, then you can bring another life into this world, but you're better prepared to bring another life into this world. And you also are, you're putting yourself out there to say, regardless of what happens in this world, this is the one person that I know I can turn to, and I can place all my trust in. And as scary as that may be, I think it's incredibly rewarding when it does pay off, when the other person reciprocates and they do the same thing. And I think that if anything, if anybody who is truly, call me a hopeless romantic, anybody who's looking for that kind of love in life, if you find that in somebody and you're willing to sacrifice it and put that on the line, I think it's an absolute beautiful, beautiful thing, and it can just be rewarding through the thick and the thin, through both. Yeah. So I don't know if that added anything.
No, last time Neil was here, we had a relationship segment where we talked about best friends and whether your spouse or your lover should be your best, and that plays perfectly into that, because without her being your best friend, those things don't fit.
Exactly.
And I mean, I could, looking at the two of you, I mean, I could tell that she truly is. I mean, I think you two are an incredible couple, and it makes me happy to know that you have found that person you want to spend the rest of your life with, and I think that you two will have a great marriage. And I mean, it is when you, like Brandon said, when you find that person you want to spend the rest of your life with, and you know, like that is your best friend, that is who you will grow old with, who, you know, it is a powerful and beautiful thing, and I'm happy for you.
Today's culture,
it doesn't value
your age and younger don't look at marriage the same way that I did, or that our parents did. And to see someone your age and everything, like, I know you're not that much younger, but to see someone from your generation like really being serious about marriage and making it something that needs to happen because you love each other, and not just that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Exactly, it's not discardable. Too many in culture and now say, like, we can get married, but if it doesn't work out, we'll just get a divorce. No.
Well, most people don't even do that anymore. Now it's like, why get married?
Why get married at
most
all?
marriages end in divorce. I'm happy to just. And it's like it's the wrong way to look at it. It's a
sad way.
It's a terrible perspective. Yeah.
So
how many people die in car wrecks every day, and we still drive?
You're right, sir. You are right.
No, I've heard one of the radio hosts that I used to listen to a lot. I still do. Dennis Prager. He's like, people do say, like, marriage is ended divorce. It's like, so that is reason enough for you to say I'm not going to get married. It's like the thing is like, just because that's the fact for so many other people doesn't mean it has to be the fact for you and your wife.
I mean, vending machines fall on people every day, but people still use them. So I'm just saying. It is true. But it's probably a much smaller percentage. I was like, incredibly smaller. Yes. Car wreck is much bigger. But
Neil, does she make you a better person?
Absolutely.
Then you're good to go.
Does she complete you?
Yeah.
Don't say that. Don't
then
say
you're good to go.
that one. I wouldn't say that.
You hear that, Megan?
You complete me. That's such a good movie.
Then you're good to go.
It's a great movie, but I would say a terrible message.
Just
don't listen to that.
Oh,
message.
come on.
Only because of what we just talked about and discussed. The whole idea that it's like, don't make her the only person and the object of your affection. It's like, it is a beautiful thing to share a part of your life with somebody that nobody else knows about, but it can't be the only thing.
Listen,
well, but saying someone completes you, that's not.
I think it can be different.
That's not ignoring the fact that I have family and friends that are also like,
instead of using
puzzle.
that quote, just walk up to her and say, "Show me the money." Go with that.
Show me the quan.
Give me the quan. Use that quote instead.
See how she likes that.
All right, guys. I think that is a fantastic relationship segment. I hope, Neil, we didn't put you too much on the spot there, did we?
I'm leaving.
You're
leaving? I'm done.
Just get out of here.
He's not even going to go to Jacob's wedding now. He's just done. I wish Jacob was here.
I wish too.
You know what? He can watch back.
All of these nice things that we've said to Neil,
We're
Jacob, trust
on
us.
him.
We feel that way about you and Melissa as well.
Yes.
We are very proud and excited for
A
you.
smidge less.
Smidge less.
Smidge less.
Yeah. An even better quote, though, is As Good as It Gets, Jack Nicholson. When he
yeah.
says, "You make me want to be a better man."
Yes.
Yes.
Now
there you
that
go.
one
That's
is a good
that
one.
is one.
Absolutely.
That's a
Good
fantastic.
job,
Even
Sean.
though Ellen Hunt, she's ugly.
Hey.
I don't know,
what
in
he
that
was
movie,
thinking.
in Castaway? I'd go
Uh,
after Castaway? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. When she comes out in the rain.
Oh, no,
Rain's
no.
pouring
Now
down?
maybe in Twister, maybe back then.
Absolutely. a
Not
Twister.
Castaway. It's a wonder he got stuck on the island. I would have.
I don't think I cast away. I can agree with Brandon on that one.
All right, we're done. We're done. Okay, guys, that was our relationship segment. As always, we've already talked about it once, but of course, you can email us at rmpodcast@redmoonproductions.com. Oh,
There it is.
do it, Neil.
Oh, there's
Do
a
it,
magic
do it, do it.
finger.
Now I'm going to
right
cut
there.
to you
You
all.
have to do the
Oh, no,
little-
you got to bring it over there.
The bouncing thing. Is it where?
Now
Where?
it's on
It's
them.
on you all.
It's on you all.
It's on you.
So point to the bottom of your screen.
Point
guys.
to it.
Right there. That's beautiful.
Good.
That's
Good
In the crotch
job.
area.
RMPodcast@redmoonproductions.com. Where at, Sean?
In the crotch area.
Yes, email us there.
yeah.
and
That's right there. There it is.
Podcast at
No, it's on yours.
redmoonproductions.com.
So, guys, next time, we hope we have just as good a show.
I hope we have a website.
Absolutely.
Hashtag
Yeah,
one
that'd
day.
be great.
Oh, one day. I don't know. I'm sorry, guys.
Hashtag one day.
It's coming, though. I promise. Until next time, I am one of your hosts, Brandon Davidson, alongside our normal new host,
Sean Sebastian.
And
You always lead with
I
me.
do. I'm sorry. I got to
terrible.
cut to our guest,
Our guest.
our
Gosh.
special guest this week.
Nathan Curry, it's been a pleasure.
And
Neil Singleton and Megan in Spirit.
oh,
You're welcome.
Okay, and finally, I'm sorry.
Keith Cheatham. Fast-paced incendiary whooping gerbils, cosmetically renounced Nordic fighting toads. Whooping gerbils.
We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. For more reviews, previous podcast shows, and everything Red Moon, visit our website, redmoonproductions.com. You can also like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for Red Moon Productions, LLC. We'll see you at the movies.